flash from Dallas. Two priests who were with President Kennedy say he is dead of bullet wounds. This is the latest information we have from Dallas. Of course, standing by to give you all available information as it comes to us.
The JFK assassination has never been just a tragic chapter in American history. It's become the mystery box that refuses to stay closed. Dallas, the motorcade, the grassy knoll, the book depository, the Zapruder film, and that strange little phrase, the magic bullet, have been argued over for more than 60 years. Now, one of the men riding just behind the presidential limousine says he carried a secret out of Parkland Hospital that day. Former Secret Service agent Paul Landis was assigned to protect Jackie Kennedy, and for decades he stayed mostly quiet about what he says he found in the backseat of the car. Before we start, drop a comment below. Tell us what you think. Does this new claim make you question the official story, or do you still think the Warren Commission basically got it right? This is the Secret Service agent who found the JFK bullet and finally broke his silence after 60 years. The day in Dallas.
A radio newsman describes the motorcade as it moves toward the Dallas Trade Mart.
The president's car is now turning onto Elm Street, and it will be only a matter of minutes before he arrives at the Trade Mart. I was on Simmons Freeway earlier, and even the freeway was jam-packed with spectators waiting their chance to see the president as he made his way toward the Trade Mart.
On November 22, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was riding through Dallas with Jackie Kennedy, Texas Governor John Connally, and Nellie Connally. The mood was public, sunny, and political. Then, in seconds, the trip turned into one of the most replayed tragedies in American life. The official account said 3 shots were fired from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. One missed, one struck Kennedy and Connally, one hit Kennedy in the head. That middle bullet became the heart of the argument. The Warren Commission said a single bullet passed through Kennedy's back and neck, then hit Connally in the chest, wrist, and thigh. Because the bullet was later found in largely intact condition, critics gave it the nickname the magic bullet. For decades, that bullet was understood to have been found on Connally's stretcher at Parkland Hospital. Paul Landis now says the story is more complicated because he claims he was the one who first picked it up. Landis in the follow-up car. Landis was not watching history from a distance. He was in the Secret Service follow-up car assigned to Jackie Kennedy. When the shots rang out, confusion took over. Agents had only seconds to react, and nobody knew exactly where the gunfire was coming from. He remembered hearing shots, seeing Kennedy's movement, and watching fellow agent Clint Hill run towards the presidential limousine. Hill's leap into the back of the car became one of the most famous images of the assassination. At Parkland, Landis moved towards the limousine and Jackie. He later said she wanted to stay with the president. In the chaos, doctors, agents, and hospital staff were all focused on trying to save Kennedy. Landis says that while looking inside the car, he noticed fragments near where Jackie had been sitting. Then he spotted something else, an intact bullet resting near the seam at the back of the seat. The bullet.
The 88-year-old tells the New York Times he found that bullet lodged in the car seat behind where Kennedy was killed. He says he then took that bullet to the hospital and placed it on the president's gurney. It was a piece of evidence, he tells the Times, and I didn't want it to disappear or get lost. So it was, Paul, you've got to make a decision, and I grabbed it.
I made a quick decision. I didn't see anybody to secure the car. People were emerging on the car. I did not want this piece of evidence to disappear, and I slipped it into my pocket.
According to Landis, the bullet was not buried deep in the cushion. It was simply lying where the back seat met the trunk area. He described it as mostly clean and intact, with visible striations but little obvious damage. That detail matters because the bullet long associated with the case was also famous for its relatively clean condition. Critics wondered how one bullet could cause so many injuries and still look so preserved afterward. Landis said he feared the limousine was not being secured. People were gathering, everyone was rushing, and the car itself had suddenly become a crime scene in the middle of a national emergency. So he says he made a fast decision. He picked up the bullet and put it in his pocket, not as a collector, but because he believed it was evidence that could disappear. The stretcher problem.
Dr. Aguilar, you studied this case for years. How significant is this?
I think this is
a significant piece of new evidence to support the idea that there was more than one gunman in Dealey Plaza.
Landis says he carried the bullet into Parkland and placed it on Kennedy's stretcher near his feet. His thinking, as he later explained it, was simple. If the bullet stayed with the president's body, doctors or investigators would find it. But the official story later tied the bullet to Connally's stretcher. That's where the problem begins. If Landis is remembering correctly, the bullet may have moved from one stretcher to another or been misidentified during the hospital confusion. This does not automatically prove a second shooter. Landis himself has said he still believes Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone assassin, but it does put pressure on the neat version of the single bullet story. Other researchers have argued that if the bullet stopped in Kennedy's back and fell out, then it could not have also caused Connally's wounds. That would leave a major question. What bullet hit Connally and when was it fired? Why so late?
Why do you have doubts about his account?
Because if you check all the evidence, statements, things that happened, they don't line up. It doesn't make any sense to me that he's trying to put it on the president's journey.
The obvious question is why Landis waited so long. His answer is tied to trauma, avoidance, and the sheer weight of what he saw. He said he didn't want to read about the assassination, revisit it, or weigh into the endless theories around it. That explanation will satisfy some people and frustrate others. Memories can shift over time, especially after a traumatic event. His early reports reportedly did not include the bullet story in the way he now tells it, and that gives critics room to doubt him. Clint Hill, who was also there, questioned Landis' account. Hill felt the details did not line up. Hill was not some distant commentator either. He was part of the same nightmare. Still, Landis was never interviewed by the Warren Commission, which is surprising considering where he was and what he says he handled. After 60 years, his account does not close the case. It reopens one of its strangest doors. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think Paul Landis' account changes the way we should look at the JFK assassination, or is it simply a late memory from a man who lived through unimaginable chaos? Let us know in the comments section below.